This video is practice using dimensional analysis. You should have already watched video 1.02, which teaches how to do this. If you haven't, watch that first. The following is a summary of the steps to perform dimensional analysis. You may want to write these down or even print the screen so that you can use these steps to help you through. Having an example in front of you when you're working problems may also help. We're going to start by doing number 19 together, the first one on this page. The length of the garden is 4 yards. The question is, how many feet is that? So 4 yards equals how many feet? The first step was to take what you start with, 4 yards, and put it over 1. Then we need to decide what conversion we need. We need to know how many feet are in a yard so that we can set up our unit fraction. 3 feet are in a yard. If you recall from learning how to do dimensional analysis, what you want to get rid of should go on the bottom, and what you want to keep, in this case feet, is going to go on top. Since there are 3 feet in 1 yard, 3 feet goes in the top of the unit fraction or the numerator. 1 yard goes on the bottom of the unit fraction or the denominator. Yards over yards cancels, and you multiply everything else straight across. Since it's over 1 and there's nothing else left in the denominator, we don't need a denominator. 4 times 3 is 12 feet. So 4 yards is equal to 12 feet. I'd like you to pause the video and try number 20 on your own. Just to get you started, they're giving you a scale to use. That is your conversion. You're to use that to make your unit fraction. All right, you should have number 20 with you in your notes to bring to class. We'll check that one together. Let's do number 22 together now. Number 22 is similar to number 20, so if you had any trouble, you may want to go back and fix or complete anything that you had difficulty with. In number 22, 2 buildings are 5 inches apart on a map. The scale of the map is 1/4 of an inch is equal to 1 mile. This is our conversion. This is where we're going to get our unit fraction. We want to know actual distance. So we're looking for miles here. That would be actual distance between 2 buildings. Obviously, inches doesn't make sense for that. So 5 inches is what we're starting with, and we need to know how many miles. Now we're not using inches in a mile in real life. We're using this scale that they gave us for the map. The map says 1/4 inch equals 1 mile, so that is where our unit fraction comes from. We put 5 inches over 1, and now we're going to make our unit fraction. Since we want to get rid of inches, we're putting inches on the bottom, and since we want to keep or end up with miles, we're putting miles on the top. Now use this scale that they gave us, 1/4 of an inch. So inches are on the bottom. You can put 1/4 or you can make it a decimal if that's easier for you. A decimal is 0.25. You can use your calculator to change that if you need to, but I hope that you know that one. 1 mile goes on top, and that's our unit fraction. Inches over inches cancels, and you get 5 over 0.25 miles. When you put 5 divided by, remember a fraction bar means division, over 0.25 in your calculator, you get 20 miles. And so the 2 buildings are 20 miles apart. I want you to try number 21 on your own. And again, you can pause the video, write it down, and then make sure you bring that with you to class tomorrow. The next set of problems we're going to look at uses the metric system, and I want to show you a trick for that. There's a really good mnemonic to help you with the order of all those prefixes for meters, liters, and grams. You're familiar with like centimeter and millimeter from using rulers, but there's this whole sequence: kilometer or kilometer, hectometer, decameter, decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. And any of those could have the units, liters or grams as well. So this is the order and how many is in each. And a good way to remember the order is what's written at the top here. King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. It's silly, I know, but it will help you remember. K for kilo, H in Henry for hecto, D is deca. Units goes in the middle, so the plain unit, if there's no prefix, is that center spot. Deci for D, centi for C in chocolate, and milli for M in milk. I'll show you how this works. It's really kind of neat. In example number 1, we have 62 decameters is equal to how many centimeters. So what you do is take the number you're given and write it over or near the correct column. So D for deca, we're putting 62 there, and we want to change that into centimeters. So here's where we're going to end up. Everything up to that point gets filled in with zeros. So centi is where we're stopping the zeros because we want centimeters. So we have 62000. We have 62,000 centimeters, and that's all you have to do. It feels like a trick, but the idea is there's that many centimeters in a decameter, and all you're doing is multiplying. All right? If you're going from larger to smaller, you multiply. If you're going from smaller to larger, you divide. It's kind of easier just to fill in the zeros. Let's try another one. So example number 2, 5 milligrams equals how many kilograms? So think about where you're going to put the 5. We're talking about milligrams. Put your 5 in the milli column. And now this time we have to go the other direction. We're trying to change this into kilograms. And if you put zeros everywhere you need to, all the way up to kilo, you can see that this number is a very small number, and you actually have to put a decimal point in the beginning because numbers don't start with 0 unless they're a decimal. So 5 milligrams is 0.0000000, 6 zeros, 5. And I know that seems ridiculous, but a kilogram is way, way, way bigger than a milligram. And so if I'm measuring in kilograms, 5 milligrams is going to be a very, very small fraction of a kilogram. I want you to pause the video and try numbers 3 and 4 on your own. And again, we're going to check those together when you get to class. We're going to do a couple of more examples. The last couple will start here. 11 meters is equal to how many centimeters? If you don't have that chart in front of you, you can reproduce it by going through the mnemonic. Just write the first letter of each word. King Henry dies unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. There's all of your prefixes, the first letter in each prefix. So again, take a look. I'm going from meters to centimeters. All right, meters is the plain unit. There's no prefix, so that's where my 11 goes. And I want to go to centimeters, so that's over here where the C is, and I'm filling in with zeros. I have 1100 centimeters. You go ahead and try number 25. 50 millimeters is equal to how many centimeters? The last one that we're going to do together is number 34, the bottom one on this page. Samir ran a race that was 10 kilometers long. About how many meters did Samir run? So I'm looking for 10 kilometers, and when there's a word problem, you should put it into something simple that you've seen, just like these ones in numbers 24 and 25. 10 kilometers equals how many, and they're asking me for meters. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use our mnemonic up here. 10 kilometers, 10 is going in the K column. Meters, plain meters, no prefix, that is where I want to end up. So I'm going to fill in with zeros. And I have that 10 kilometers is 10,000 meters. Pretty simple, right? Go ahead and pause the video, work on number 30 on your own, and make sure you bring these 4 problems that I've asked you to do into class tomorrow.